You hatch late at night on a remote sandy beach under the faint glow of moonlight. Tiny and determined, you wriggle free from your shell and poke your head through the sand. Your very first challenge is already upon you. You must make a frenzied dash toward the ocean, flippers flailing and heart beating fast, or whatever passes for a heart race in a creature only minutes old. Around you, dozens of your siblings do the same, all of you scrambling over each other in a race for survival. Hungry predators, gulls, crabs, anything with an appetite, lurk nearby, hoping to snatch up a conveniently bite-sized hatchling. Somehow, you keep moving across the sand, as if compelled by an ancient command whispering, "To the water, to the water." When you finally reach the shoreline, the first gentle wave lifts you off the sand and into a world of rolling blue. Here, you discover you can paddle. Though at first it's hardly graceful, you kick and flop in the shallows until you realize that if you keep your flippers moving, you can glide forward. It's a relief, but also terrifying. Under the ocean's surface loom countless shapes and shadows, some friendly, others not so much. Still, you're too young and determined to let fear hold you back. You set off into the deep, trusting your instincts to guide you. The open ocean is vast and overwhelming, but it also offers the chance to hide among drifting seaweed and algae, which become a floating nursery for you and many other tiny marine creatures. You nibble on plankton and catch your first meal of minuscule jellyfish. Each day brings new lessons. One day you learn how to dart away from a curious fish that thinks you might be lunch. Another day you discover that not everything floating is edible when you accidentally chomp on a piece of plastic. You quickly spit it out, making a mental note that plastic tastes terrible. Months roll into years and you grow stronger. By the time you're a toddler turtle, you've drifted halfway across ocean currents, learning the rhythms of the sea. You've weathered storms, riding monstrous waves and swirling currents. Once you even escaped the jaws of a marauding shark by zigzagging among a coral reef, finding shelter in crevices too small for the predator to follow. Through these ordeals, your shell hardens, your flippers grow more powerful, and your survival instincts sharpen. Eventually you become a juvenile about the size of a dinner plate, with a sturdy carapace and the confidence of a well-traveled wanderer. Danger still lurks. Larger sharks and orcas could end your story in a single snap, but you've developed a knack for evading them. Hunger is a constant motivator. You chase jellyfish, small fish and crustaceans, perfecting your underwater hunting skills. Occasionally you ride swirling currents that act like ocean highways, ferrying you to feeding grounds teeming with delicious morsels. You begin to realize that, for a turtle, life is part travel adventure, part daily struggle. Years flow by. You reach adulthood, possibly 2 decades since you first dug yourself out of the sand. Your shell now measures nearly 3 feet across, and you're one of the lucky survivors among thousands of hatchlings that never made it this far. Then, one day, an inexplicable urge tugs at you. It's time to go back. Deep within your brain is a magnetic compass guiding you home, back to the beach where your life began. Determined, you swim for days, following the cues of the Earth's magnetic field. You dodge new threats along the way, including some strange 2-legged creatures who fish with nets and leave odd debris in the water. Their presence rattles you, but instinct pushes you onward. Eventually, you glimpse familiar coastal waters. The beach appears as it did in your hazy hatchling memories, wide, sandy, and under the warm glow of the moonlight. Crawling onto land again is an ordeal. Your flippers, so powerful in water, feel like clumsy paddles on dry sand. Still, the ancestral call drives you onward. Inch by inch, you haul your body past the high tide line. Laboriously, you dig a nest in the damp sand with your rear flippers. After what feels like an eternity of scooping, you lay a clutch of soft, round eggs into the nest. Exhausted yet triumphant, you bury them, pat the sand flat, and turn back to the sea. Your work here is finished. It's up to the next generation to emerge and seize their chance at survival. With a lumbering shuffle, you leave the beach behind and slip back into the ocean's comforting embrace. Having survived storms, predators, and long migrations, you've come full circle. Once a tiny hatchling struggling to reach the surf, now a seasoned voyager returning to give life to the next wave of explorers. In the grand and perilous saga of the sea, this is how your story continues, unbroken across generations, guided by the moonlight and the timeless rhythms of the tide.